Coming up in all angles, Uber now in Jamaica. What's different? What's good? What's bad? What's the likely impact on public transportation?
We don't need no Uber. We done our Uber already. When they bring in them Uber system, taxi man not have no work boy. Yeah.
And later on, our All Angles anniversary flashback.
So all of the owner them know who's down in them yard. I eat them cornflakes, or I watch Netflix, or I do what them want to do. Them have to go get concerned. Because all I'm going to do, I drive your car today, commit too much offense, and then left it tomorrow.
For staying with us for another edition of the program. I'm Dion Jax-Miller. So Uber has launched in Kingston and St. Catherine. So what is Uber? It's described as a ride-sharing application. Drivers can sign up. People who want to be drivers can sign up to become Uber drivers. And you, if you're a passenger, you download the app and you can request a destination, be matched with a driver, check the price of the ride beforehand. Your relatives can use the app as well and can follow your progress, in fact, until you get to your destination. So what's all the big fuss about Uber? Well, it's said to be a disruptive technology. It has been introduced, Uber says, in over 10,000 cities worldwide, and comes with concerns, well, on the part of some people about cost, about competition, about pricing. So joining us in this segment of the program to talk a little bit about Uber and what it might mean for the local market, we have with us Sophia Campbell, who is president of the Route Taxi Association. We also have Willard Costley from the Jamaica Association of Hackney and Contract Carriages, and Petra Keane-Williams, Corporate Communications Manager at the Transport Authority. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate you talking to us. Petra Keane-Williams, let me start with you if I could, because speaking yesterday on radio, Mr. Costley and other people also have been raising questions as to the regulatory authority, the law under which Uber would be operating in Jamaica, and in fact, whether or not that's above board. Can you tell us what that situation is from the point of view of the regulator? You're on mute. You're on mute. Don't worry. Don't worry. Happens all the time. Happens to me too. You're still muted though.
I am.
Okay. Hearing you now very low.
Awesome. Very low.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that better? Hearing me better?
No.
No? All right. Let's try something. Are you hearing me okay now?
No, I am, indeed.
Okay, but you are now a little low for me.
Okay. I'll try and project. Sometimes I'm low.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So Uber approached the Transport Authority and the Transport Ministry some 3 years ago, roughly 2018, thereabouts, 2017, 2018, and indicated that they were intending to operate rideshare services in Jamaica. They sent a memorandum of understanding to the Transport Ministry asking for a review and feedback. The review was completed, and the Transport Authority and the Transport Ministry advised Uber that ride-sharing services could not be accommodated under the regulatory framework currently existing in Jamaica. So they have it conceptualized, their ride-sharing services would be in breach of the law here in Jamaica.
Can you tell us why? Can you tell us why? Because a lot of people have been saying, okay, this sounds like route taxes that we've had all along now if we're talking about ride sharing. So what's the difference?
Okay, so what ride sharing means is that you would utilize motor vehicles that are privately owned to provide a public transportation service. Now, under the Road Traffic Act, you need a road license to provide public transportation services. So when we talk about public transportation services, we are talking about vehicles used for transportation for hire or reward. And so under the conceptualization of what Uber does and ride sharing, those vehicles would be used for hire or reward in transporting passengers. So that would be a clear-cut breach of the Road Traffic Act and the regulatory framework for public transportation. So it wouldn't be the same as a licensed route taxi. So if you were to compare that, you would have to compare it with an illegally operated vehicle. Now, that design or concept that Uber has in terms of ride sharing may be allowed in other jurisdictions, but it is not permitted in Jamaica. The Ministry and the Transport Authority, we didn't stop there. We made the recommendation that if Uber wanted to carry out its services, it would be recommended that they, one, be licensed as, well, registered as a taxi company, that also that they would utilize licensed transport operators to provide the service. As it is, we learned of Uber's launch in the Kingston Metropolitan region and St. Catherine via the press release at the same time that the media and the general public learns about it.
You're kidding.
So Uber did not return to us to discuss any new design or model in respect of what they want to offer in Jamaica.
Okay, sorry, I have to go down that road a little bit more. So, because the model of Uber, for instance, in the United States, where a lot of people are familiar with it, is that if I want to make some money in my spare time, for instance, I sign up as an Uber driver, start picking up rides, start making some money that way. It sounds as if you're saying essentially that to operate lawfully in Jamaica, they basically have to set up in the same way that an existing taxi company would be set up, and that all their drivers would have to be licensed in the way all our taxi drivers are licensed. Is that it?
That is correct.
Yes, that is it. So while they may not be required necessarily to operate a taxi company, it would be recommended. But what is definitely sure is that the operators who would be providing the transportation services would have to be licensed as public passenger vehicles. Those vehicles would have to be licensed.
So the launch that we heard took place yesterday. What? You're saying it was a launch of something that has no legal authority to be launched?
Well, let us put it into perspective. The Transport Authority was not provided with any details from Uber in respect of the model that they're using to provide the service. Now, what we would like to see and understand is how are they providing the transportation services? If Uber is utilizing licensed public passenger vehicles to provide their service, then there's something wrong with that. They're operating legally based on the legislative framework. If, however, Uber is utilizing privately owned vehicles to provide the service, then that is an illegal operation.
And because you're saying nobody came back, they didn't come back to the Transport Authority, you're saying there's no way they could be licensed?
No. Recall what is of importance for us at the Transport Authority
is that
whether
the cars and the drivers are licensed.
Correct.
Okay. So in other words, if they were going to operate right now without having come back to you, all of their drivers then would have to be people who already have PPV, the cars are already PPV, and they are already licensed with the Transport Authority, is what you're saying?
To operate legally, yes.
Okay. All right. I haven't forgotten you, Mr. Costley and Ms. Campbell, but as you can imagine, we do need to set the groundwork properly with this. So then, is the Transport Authority then looking into what is going on here?
Right. We would investigate and observe the operations of Uber just as if any other new entrant to the market. We want to be clear that the Transport Authority welcomes the use of technology and additional services that Uber could offer to the market. We welcome that from any company. In fact, what Uber is offering now is being offered locally. So we have companies like 876 on the go, Get There. There are a number of other companies and other companies to be launched today called Red Plate, which utilizes an app. So it is not a new concept in terms of utilizing an app to get public transportation services. With 876 on the go, you can track your journey, you can share your journey. So a lot of the features that are a part of what Uber offers currently exist in the public transportation sector. It may be that these are small business operators who have not yet established themselves in a particular way, but the services are being offered. So for us, it is really to look at the operations of Uber in the sector and to see whether or not the services that are being provided are being operated in compliance with the legislative framework.
And since the announcement yesterday, the press release, and today, you still haven't got any more information in terms of what the model is going to be?
No, we have not received any additional information, but of course we are investigating and observing their operations.
Wow, okay. All right, Mr. Costley?
Hi, good evening. Good evening.
Yes.
What can I do for you today?
Why are you smiling, Mr. Costley?
Well, I'm smiling because of what I understand happening out there and the lack of knowledge by the entire sector.
Meaning
and
what?
the population.
Meaning what?
That most persons out there don't understand the dynamics between operating taxi and the rules, regulation, and what happens which is legal, what happens which is illegal, the confusion about Uber and everything. It's interesting.
So you've been sitting back and watching and smiling. That's what it looked like happening.
Well, I've been doing my investigation long ago, not just today. I know it is going to come here because everybody who's doing business internationally always want a piece of the rock. Always want a piece of the rock. From the Bob Marley to the Usain Bolt, and everybody wants a piece of it. So it gives me reason to investigate. And I can also use the opportunity to tell you that all taxi operators out there who are getting scared and fear, I am not, because the fear that Uber charges is not going to attract any legal operators because it is not conducive to operating a motor vehicle in Jamaica.
Well,
anybody who take the Uber are endangering themselves to at least legality because no legal operator is going to take it. I'm not telling them not to join him.
It's all like cartelization going on, man. You sound like cartelization going on. Like everybody said, boy, this way a charge. So suppose it is.
No.
Why are you so confident that Uber drivers can't come in with a lower price? Maybe y'all been jacking up the price, and now Uber come to show us that it can be lower.
Hold on. I have sit down and I have calculated their rates, and I know how they come about with their rates. The rates that they are charging is the rate that we have from about 1992. That is what they're coming in the market with. Which taxi operator can operate at that when we are paying gas at such? When you're going from here to Montego Bay at $8,000, quote unquote, average for an Uber, how can you? That is just enough to buy gas to go down there. So what I'm simply saying to you, from where I'm sitting, these are what caused me to laugh. And I'm saying to the operators, don't get panicked, because in truth and in fact, there are persons out there who know the system. And I can tell you definitely that with what is here already, there are others coming. As a matter of fact, one landed only since 2 hours before Uber launch.
Which one?
Hello?
Which one? What landed?
I will just inform of it. I'll give you the name at a shorter time.
All right.
I'll give you the name.
All right. Hold that.
It is ready.
Hold that thought for me. I'm going to go to the break. When we come back, we bring in Sophia Campbell into this, and you will be able to send us WhatsApp messages as well. 3810072, 3810072. Give us your first name, give us your general location, and tweet us as well. Remember, our hashtag is TVJ All Angles. We're talking Uber and the local transportation sector, so stay tuned. We'll soon come.